So today we're going to talk about Splunk, a company that looked at the absolute chaos of machine data and somehow saw a gold mine. This is the story of how they built a billion-dollar machine to mine it.
Okay, let's picture this. It's the early 2000s. You're working in IT. You've got servers, applications, and all these network devices just constantly spitting out data. We're talking endless streams of log files piling up with absolutely no easy way to search them. Trying to find one tiny error felt like searching for a needle in a digital haystack. It was a nightmare.
And then, in 2003, this company, Splunk, shows up with this incredibly simple but powerful promise: Google for your logs. Now look, this wasn't just some catchy tagline. This was a revolution. The very idea that you could search through all that messy, unstructured machine data as easily as you could search the web, that was a complete game changer. So how did they actually pull this off? How did Splunk deliver on that promise? Let's take a look at how they went from this really clever idea to a tool that basically everyone had to have, completely changing IT and security forever.
At its heart, Splunk was built to do one thing, and do it brilliantly: make unmanageable data manageable. The crazy part was, it didn't care what kind of data you threw at it. Server logs, security events, app traces, it took everything. And for the first time, this meant teams could get one single view of their entire system, all happening in real time.
And the process? So simple it was genius. First, it would just ingest or kind of vacuum up all that data chaos. Second, it indexed everything. It created a searchable record of every single thing that happened. And finally, it gave you this powerful search language and tools to ask questions and find answers, like right now. All of a sudden, you could spot a server about to fail or a security breach as it was actually happening.
You can probably guess what happened next. The impact was just massive. It took Splunk from being this cool little startup tool to an absolute enterprise giant.
And the speed of Splunk's rise was just incredible. I mean, it was founded in 2003, and less than 10 years later, in 2012, it has this huge IPO. And after that, the valuation just exploded, soaring into the multi-billions. This timeline just goes to show you how much pent-up demand there was for a tool that could finally make sense of all this data.
Before long, Splunk was everywhere. For IT teams, it was the secret to keeping the lights on and preventing outages. For security folks, it was absolutely critical for spotting hackers and staying compliant. It pretty much became the central nervous system, the real backbone of enterprise monitoring. And over time, it grew into this even bigger field called observability, cementing its place in every modern tech company.
But you know how this story goes. When you get that big, that dominant, conflict is usually right around the corner. And as Splunk became more essential to businesses, a huge debate started to pop up that would really define the next part of its story. Yeah, the whole debate really boiled down to one simple question. As more and more companies relied on Splunk, the licensing costs just kept getting steeper and steeper. People started to ask, okay, this is amazing, but is it worth the massive price tag?
And this created that classic dilemma, right? On one hand, you have Splunk. It's polished, it's powerful, it's enterprise ready, you've got support. On the other hand, you had these open source alternatives popping up, like the ELK stack. That's Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. They were way cheaper, but you had to do all the work yourself to manage and set them up. So companies had this tough choice: pay for the expensive license or pay with their own engineers' time.
So after all the explosive growth, all the debate, the market dominance, what's the lasting impact of this data giant? What's its real legacy and the history of how we handle data? This right here, this quote says it all. This is Splunk's greatest legacy. See, before Splunk, all those log files were just seen as a problem, a storage cost. Splunk completely flipped the script. It proved that all that data wasn't a burden at all. It was a gold mine, the kind of gold that could help you stop a disaster before it happens. And it showed the world that whoever controlled the tools to mine that data, well, they basically held the keys to the future of IT.
And if you ever need a number to back that up, just look at this: a peak valuation in the multi-billions. That's not just about one successful company. That's the market screaming that the ability to mine and understand the digital heartbeat of your organization is incredibly valuable. So the story of Splunk, from its simple promise to its absolute dominance, leaves us with this really important question. As our world just gets more and more digital, generating more data than we can even imagine, the power of the tools that analyze it just keeps growing. Who controls them and how they get used, that's something that's going to keep shaping our future.